Our following keynote speaker has over 20 years of experience working in technical roles for technology organizations such as Infinigate AG, GFI Software, and Yubico. Speaking about how DDI data helps enterprises innovate faster. Please welcome Ronny Wolf, EMEA Field CTO, BlueCat. Good luck.
Yeah, welcome everybody. My name is Ronny Wolf, as already introduced, working for BlueCat as Field CTO. And I want to give you a little bit of journey how DDI, a very unfancy topic, can help businesses, enterprises to innovate a little bit faster. To give you a little bit about an overview about my company, we are one of the leading providers in that area, around about 500 employees, came from Canada, Toronto, and fully focused on enterprises, means starting from healthcare, financial, public sector, transportation, automotive, and so on. But maybe it's a little bit difficult to come into that topic, what we are doing, because DDI what? What is it? DDI stands for DNS, DHCP, and IP address management. Again, very unfancy topic typically. What it does typically is it provides you an IP address management. And if you think about IP addresses, everything, also what we heard before, an AI technology you want to access to, ChatGPT and things like that. Everything is somehow IP related to provide you this connectivity, what you need to access your services, your applications, your business, and so on. What you also need, because IP address is very hard to remember, right? You also need to have a DNS service in the backend, which translates your IP addresses to names so that you can remember that. On top of that, we also need to think about if we have these kind of services in place, how we can secure them, how we can secure our IP address space, as well as how can we secure our DNS and DHCP service, whether we have that within our environment or if someone from external accessing that. And as the presentation topic suggests already, is we need to think about how we can automate that as much as possible. How many people do you have within your enterprises who do these jobs, maybe manually? Open a service ticket and somebody needs to provision a virtual machine or needs to provide a data center or whatever it is. So how we can integrate and automate this as much as possible so that we are fully worry-free and fully automated. Who is using DDI services? Typically, if you see all of these different topics here and icons, it doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter if it's an end user who is accessing a website or a service within your business. The internet is fully working about IP addresses and DNS. Industrial devices, nowadays connected. Data center, smart home, OT devices in transportation sector or whatever it is, connected devices. So if you, after that show, you sit in your car, maybe whatever, you listen to some of the music and things like that. Nowadays, everything is connected. Starting from predictive maintenance, again, to additional services where these kind of vendors can make money. And for sure, if we have cloud environments, public or private cloud, also they need to handle with IP addresses, with DNS services, or to provision them automatically. So at the end, as a conclusion, everything needs DDI to communicate somehow. And to unlock that value, we ask a couple of our customers as well as potential prospects, what is the biggest challenge to on that networks on that side? And organizations, 52% of the organizations mentioned, our network is so complex that we need a lot of people to manage that, and that is a big challenge for us. If we take a look a little bit in the statistics, one of their biggest challenge was digital transformation, whatever we want to call it, private or public cloud migrations and things like that, but also to help in regards to network and IT automation. So to automate all of that stuff, what we right now maybe do manually through a lot of human beings. Security incidents, risk assessment, to identify where are my weakest points in the network. And all of the other stuff here, like Internet of Things, service outages, so I have not a resilient enough service. The application modernization, so more containerized, for example, and to keep up that rapid speed, we want to deploy new services or applications. The biggest challenge in regards to that, as mentioned in my intro, was that 42% of all of these challenges has something to do with DDI, with this DNS, DHCP, and IP address management. But because it's not a fancy topic, you get not that much people who have really knowledge around that, who have really the expertise to drive these things and to bring your business forward. So how can a DDI platform, if you have a centralized DDI platform, how can that help? If we take a look on an application owner, so you want to provide a new application, you need to deploy an application somewhere, doesn't matter where it comes from, maybe there's a request for an IT service management system, we need to deploy a couple of virtual machines or whatever, so in the front end, in the back end, doesn't matter if it's in my private cloud, public cloud, if it's in the data center. We need to apply security rules. We need to make sure that it's accessible, that it's connected to our end users. And then for sure, we also need to make sure that these applications are run smoothly from a performance perspective. And if you think about that, starting from a request that we need something, I'm as a business or application owner, to all of these different steps, how many people are involved and how long does it take in classical businesses until everything is up and running and we can make money with that? So typically, that takes a couple of weeks or at least days. With a DDI platform, we have the ability to automate all of these tasks. So you do not need to take care. Maybe somebody sits in the backend and takes a look on the monitoring and how these complete flow is automatically done. But starting from deploying your virtual machines, your front end, your back end, make sure that it's accessible from external, applying your security rules to whatever security applications you have in place. So is it a firewall? Is it VPN tunnels? Whatever it is needed, to make sure that it's accessible from the end user as well as it's monitoring the application performance. Everything can be done through the DDI automation. Typically Flow, that is now from BlueCat itself, but it can apply to any centralized DDI platform. Typically you get somewhere from ServiceNow, from Salesforce, it doesn't matter where it comes from, and then it goes through the whole system and deploys and monitors and documents all of that steps. If we come from a security angle, as mentioned, DNS, DHCP, IP address management is related to almost every device, every user, every application, and so on. So for sure, we also need to take care about the security on these important protocols. And if we are in the security operations center, a security analyst or whatever, we are detecting a malicious activity, an incident will be raised, and now we need to take a look what happens. We need to do our investigation, we need to do our classification, we need to include all the related devices, applications, users, and so on, and then we need to, if we have it, it's fine that we have a playbook how to remediate, but we need to have a clue how we can remediate and how we can drill down and log these specific security incidents immediately. But also we need to make sure that we have a lessons learned out of that. If there was a security incident, how we can make sure that we prevent for that in the future. Also, that is quite often a very heavy and manual task. A lot of people are involved, and here a DDI security platform can help to automate that. Because IP, DHCP, or DNS is involved in all of these different communication steps. So we know from DNS who has logged in the morning. We know which application was accessed. Was it from external? Was it from internal? Maybe do we have some malicious application internal? And we can take all of these data to make a proper classification, for sure, together with external data as well. Take a look on your Active Directory, take a look on your application itself. But again, DNS plays a major role and then provides you remediation steps and automatically has the ability to block or to protect against future activities. Also here, how we are doing that, typically we are using machine learning mechanisms, we are using behavior analytics on devices over a certain time frame to detect, okay, what is the normal behavior and what is suspicious. And based on that, you identify the suspicious behavior and then the remediation starts. If it comes to a more dynamic environment, you want to provide services to your customers and you start with a very low-end performance at the end because you know, oh, I have 500 customers who will accessing these devices or these services and so on. But it needs to scale automatically, right? You do not need to want to onboard new devices, new virtual machines, new database backends and things like that. That should be more or less on your fingertips automatically. So how a DDI solution can help in regards to on-demand scalability? So we have our data center or cloud operation or whatever it is, and here we have a high volume application request right now, so we see a peak maybe in whatever, 1 million requests, something like that comes on. And now we need to trigger something based on a performance indicator, and now we need to scale up. We need to make sure that the front end is more or less able to handle that scale, the back end as well, and the cloud or data center. But what is if maybe we have now load times again, so there was a high demand and now it goes down again, so we need also to make sure to scale down again and to monitor that and automatically do all of that things. Typically also that is done with a quite often manually work to scale up and scale down, but a DDI automation also here can help you to do that automatically. We take the performance indicator, provision automatically new IP addresses, give it a DNS name, combine all of them together that they are able to communicate. And if it's not needed anymore, it will be decommissioned, it will be deprovisioned, and then it starts again. That will save cost at the end, and that will save manually effort. How that is working, typically based on playbooks, just here a little bit for the technical guys, a little bit more, and that everything is monitored in the central platform. What we have deployed, do we have some requests, what do we need from an IP, DNS, or DHCP perspective is shown here a little bit. As a conclusion, a centralized DDI platform can help in automate recurring tasks and time-consuming tasks. As well, it provides your critical network services on scale. When needed, it will provide these services. If not needed, it will decommission it automatically to save cost and complexity. The centralized DDI platform also gives you a deep insight into how the business operates, because DNS and IP addresses are everywhere. And it is able to detect and protect against malicious activities, so that more or less on the first stop, when an IP address will be assigned or a DNS request will be done, before any other application, it can block and protect against these. With that, thank you very much. Visit our booth and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.